Mr. President, thank you. We congratulate you on assuming the presidency of the Council this month, and you can count on our support. We thank the U.S., the pen holder, for cooperating with Sudan and to accept the technical extension of the resolution. We thank the efforts by China and Russia, as well the A3 Plus, in following up and ensuring that this resolution is adopted. Mr. President, the status and the dynamics of Resolution 1591 was negatively affected with time. Sudan has long requested that we review the sanctions and the measures according to the resolution in line with its fundamental right in the Charter to defend its sovereignty, its territorial integrity as a member state of the UN, and its right to individual and collective defense guaranteed in the Charter as sovereignty is indivisible and should be integral. Therefore, we commend the position of the Council and the Secretary General in condemning all the efforts to divide the Sudan and the regional levers that are conspiring in neighboring countries, in countries that hosted a plan to launch a virtual government and wanted to make Niala a capital for it. The leniency in implementing this resolution led to undermine the Sudanese sovereignty, and the fact that the militias continue to impose a siege on Al-Fashir and different cities in Darfur and Kordofan, and this had exacerbated the foreign and the Emirati blatant violations and interferences that led to the prolongation of this war and threatening of the civilians. The Sudanese army was able to fight these militias, and therefore they distracted the efforts by bringing in mercenaries, particularly from Colombia, and who are brought through special security companies that take their headquarters in the UAE in order to work and to act in Sudan while relying on bases and military facilities of UAE to transport these mercenaries and train them. There were 248 flights in planes rented by the UAE to train these mercenaries and bring them to the Sudanese territories, particularly in Niala and Fashir. And they oversee their training and the operationalization of drones, as well as the recruitment and training of children the ages between 10 and 12. The participation of mercenaries in the hostilities against the Sudanese army led to terrible violations that were documented and created the chances for massacres and summary killings that led to the killing of 87 Sudanese civilians by these mercenaries, and scores were killed through drone attacks, while 150 civilian buildings were destroyed. Among the evidence that we found that there was an secret operation in Spanish that was dated the 1st of December 2024, whereby some of the Colombian mercenaries used white phosphorus that is prohibited according to the international humanitarian law, and included documents with a list of weapons and supplies that the leader of these mercenaries had demanded from Al Ain in UAE. The Colombian president has condemned this operation and confirmed that 40 Colombian mercenaries were killed. The militias also attacked an oil field in Kordofan through a drone, and the French international radio station showed that according to satellite images and materials published, that there is a military base that is a secret base for the military support rapid support forces in the Libyan desert that would support the militias in Darfur. And this has coincided with the implementation of a line a new line for logistics that was providing supplies to the militias near Al-Kafra, south of Libya, in violation of Resolution 1591 and Resolution 2736. The information that we provided to the Security Council has provided evidence to the existence of this system in the desert that works to undermine the Sudanese sovereignty and the continued supplies line from Libya and Niala to N'Djamena. You are all aware that the militias are trying to find a place, a foothold in Awenat mountain and the border triangle that is between Sudan, Egypt, and Libya. These mercenaries that are killing Sudanese and the security companies that are transporting them to destroy Sudan and displace its people, they have shown and are evidence to attempt to redraw the map of Sudan within the framework of the current chaos in the international community. Sudan has made clear accusations to UAE, supported by documents that confirm its involvement in this plan. Failure to take a constructive action by the Council has provided the ground for the regional sponsors to violate the international law. The Colombian Minister of Foreign Affairs has confessed that a number of Colombian citizens have joined the fighting alongside the militias in Sudan and made an official apology to Sudan. This continues while the siege of Al-Fashir continues, whereas the rapid support militias and their mercenary allies use starvation as a weapon. The air assets that are provided to these militia by external partners are trying to abort the supplies, the humanitarian supplies to Al-Fashir to try and save the lives of the civilians. A voluntary organization described the status of the civilians that they do not wait to die, but are on a daily basis fighting with courage to show the world that this catastrophe is not a fate but a deliberate crime. The militia and the mercenaries cut all supplies lines, and this was witnessed by the UN that confirmed the looting of the aid convoys. The militias and the mercenaries turned Zamzam camp after it was invaded into a military base, which led to the displacement of 500,000 people. These atrocities, these crimes committed by the militias are committed in a systematic and deliberate manner. The militias ignored in the past calls from the Secretary General to accept a humanitarian pause to allow the delivery of aid to Al-Fashir. The Prime Minister submitted a letter to the Secretary General asking for an immediate action to provide support and humanitarian aid to civilians in Darfur. Sudan places great importance and attaches great importance to the role of the Sanctions Committee and the panel of experts, and collaborate with them and engage with them constructively. And therefore, we call upon the panel of experts to put an end to the controversy regarding the exacerbation of the aggression against Sudan and the mercenaries against it, and to not overlook what was mentioned and the evidence that are existence in this regard. We look forward to a panel of experts that is professional and that is credible. The border area is being used to smuggle weapons and supplies to the militias that leads to prolonging this war. This in its itself is a clear evidence to the violation of the Sudanese sovereignty. Neighboring countries should respect the charter and should not open their borders to support the rapid support militias and to turn their lands and territory as a place to destabilize Sudan and its security. One of the countries obstructed the arrival of the team of mercenaries to certain areas inside its territory so that it does not reveal its role in this plot. We hope that the panel of experts should work according to the best practices. We have noticed that there was no efforts made to track the flights that the government of Sudan has pointed to, and we have submitted a complete report monitoring these flights last week. External parties working with these militias created a balance of power that is supported by mercenaries and continue to support the militias in order to increase their operational support and change these dynamics into a soft occupation that is managed by the UAE remotely without having to bear the responsibility for it or its repercussions, which makes it a terror project that is transboundary and that ensures impunity by trying to act smart. The lack of a firm reaction from this council to what is happening makes Darfur again either as a lever for new nationalism or a genocide or a place to burn also down all the enemies of Sudan, or that Darfur becomes a place for terrorism that creates more extremism. We refuse all the conditions for a settlement that is imposed by UAE. We refuse the establishment of any ethnic entity or a parallel government under the auspices of the UAE. We will not allow that, and Sudan will confront any attempts to divide it by the external parties. Mr. President, we call upon this council to pay attention to the following. According to the convention regarding fighting the recruitment or the use or the financing or the training of mercenaries, the country that is doing that should be responsible for its actions. This was condemned by the Security Council regarding the activities of mercenaries because they are considered a direct threat to international peace and security. The Council, particularly in its resolution 1674-2286, repeatedly confirmed that the targeting of civilians and the use of prohibited weapons are grave violations of the international humanitarian law. The mercenaries should not benefit from the status of prisoners of war in line with the Geneva Convention and the 1989 agreement to fight the recruitment, the use and the financing and training of mercenaries. This requires those countries to hold these mercenaries accountable and to bring them to justice. There is also other decisions regarding the elimination of the mercenaries and that mercenaries are a threat to peace also in Africa. The Security Council condemned several times the use of mercenaries in Angola in its resolution 1127 and in Sierra Leone in its resolution 1132 recognizing its negative impact on peace operations. The use of white phosphorus in civilian areas is also a violation of the Convention on Conventional Weapons. The nature of these operations is a violation also of the UN Charter. The Council has established expert panels and monitoring mechanisms, particularly in the Resolution 2127 regarding Central African Republic and 1973 regarding Libya, to monitor the flow of weapons and mercenaries. As such, we call upon the Council the following. The government of Sudan requires that the Security Council should take a decisive action, that there should be a special mechanism for monitoring the sanctions and also for monitoring the mercenaries, similar to other cases in Libya or others, and to ensure that targeted sanctions are imposed, including asset freezing and travel ban on those entities that are engaged in recruiting mercenaries. Thank you, Mr. President.